Hog's one-shot isn't a one-shot? I mean, that's misleading because the whole point of Hog being a one-shot is he pulls you into melee range. Do you not see the difference? Unpopular opinion thread from our favorite subreddit. What's your unpopular opinion about the competitive scene of the game itself? Now, my job is to be the spoil sport. So what I'm going to tell you is my personal opinion on these things, give my full take. And I also want to highlight the stuff that obviously because these are unpopular opinions, there's going to be a lot of hot takes and a lot of things that we don't agree with because they're unpopular. That's why they're unpopular, right? But I will try to highlight ones that are like, ooh, that's thought-provoking, or actually, I don't agree with that, but I actually can see your point. We'll try not be the spoil sport for the entire thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. Make sure the controversial for the most unpopular opinions. Maybe could sort by controversial. We'll do some best, and then we'll sort by controversial. Actually, you know what? We should start with controversial. That feels like the most intellectually honest, aka most amusing. Okay, you guys ready? All right. All three were Mercy, Ryan, Soldier. All three were meant to be training wheel heroes for players new to the game, first-person shooter genre, or playing support and tank respectively. Most, if not all, the complaints about Mercy all apply to Soldier and Ryan too. If you've ever played COD for more than 5 minutes, then you know how to play Soldier. Bro is the ACR noob tube combo that pairs excellently with the aimbot of an ultimate. Any skill that people complain is very important to Ryan. It's just important to literally any other tank of the game. Ability, cooldown, rotation, timing, knowing when to take and give it space, no more. Yeah, we'll upvote because, unpopular opinion, but no. The thing is that, like, they're meant to appeal to a certain majority of players. Let's compare one at a time. Soldier versus Mercy. Okay. Yes. Entry-level character. But entry-level character that demands mechanical skill. Entry-level character that does not demand mechanical skill. And don't get me started on a cooldown management or position because that's important for Soldier too. They're definitely designed to be entry-level characters in terms of, like, kit design. But in execution, that's where the similarities kind of end, right? I do find Soldier to be a little bit more dull in execution, but he's definitely has a little bit more nuance there. And the Ryan one is just false. Like, you can shield bot and get value sometimes, but the complexity of the character's ceiling is infinitely higher than Mercy. And Wikitrix, thank you for the sub. And the way that character and the positioning ability cooldown and so on is much, 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 much more important. If you've ever seen me coach Reinhardt, and like anywhere from like Plat, Diamond, and so on, especially on a map with any sort of verticality, it's complicated, man. You got to be strategic about how you use pin, how you flank, how you pin backline, hold shield, play cover, you shatter, clear high ground. No, you don't clear high ground, you force cart. It's pretty complicated. We're doing a complicated one. We're starting with, or controversial, excuse me. But yeah, unpopular opinion, I respect it, and I understand that there is some logic behind what's being said. I just don't fully agree with it. Hit scan is both good for the game and the most skillful role in the game. The people who complain don't know how to play corners properly or can't aim themselves. I mean, there's a bit of a point here, I think hit scan has some of the more simple kits, which is why people don't enjoy it, but it is very mechanically demanding, and a lot of positioning with hit scan is important too. Saying that hit scan is only point and shoot, and that's all you need to do is both reductionist, even with a character like Widowmaker, and purposefully, dense. You're being purposefully dense. I do think that hit scan has a point of being a little bit overtuned in the past, but I think that a lot of the problems with DPS feeling top heavy, as I did in my projectile DPS video, is because that a lot of the projectile DPS characters are more spammy and also have not had kits that have evolved as well into Overwatch 2. Roadhog should never be good in 5v5. Arista's rework is terrible because it doesn't fit her design and character. There's nothing in this horse that says she should be a spear-based character. Oh, that's a hot take. I kind of like the whole spear-based character, frankly. I think that's the most fun aspect of her kit. We are getting to the point where we have too many maps in the game. There are weeks where I don't get a King's Row at all, and there should be map pools you can select before entering the game, and probably not in popular opinion, but we really need more Flashpoint maps. Yada, yada, yada. I don't really have an opinion on that one. Malga Cardiac Overdrive is a lazy design that should be removed. I don't think that's a hot take. I don't even think this is a hot take, actually. Pretty fresh one, but I don't like Juno. Ooh, okay. Her mobility is clunky, ult boring, personality annoying, and as a whole, this hero is just the definition of missed potential. She is not unsalvageable. I think her gun is cool, rockets and speed ring can stay, but you need to make her movement more engaging. I also don't think she should be flying like Echo Shift. I'm just not really a fan of copying abilities, but she doesn't. That's the whole... Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people... This is ironic. Maybe I need to talk with... We would need to talk with this person, but a lot of the mobility clunky complaints are because she doesn't move like Echo. So this person is saying that, like, oh, it's just a copy and paste of Echo Shift, but I find it clunky, which is odd. I'm really not a fan of copying abilities. Okay, so I think fair points in some ways, but honestly, skill issue. Honestly, skill issue. I can understand the approach, but the more hours you put on Juno, the more situations that you actually can just totally live, just totally disengage. The ult's definitely a little bit boring, but it allows you to do more interesting things. There were a lot of moments. Did you guys... I mean, you guys watched me play a little bit of Juno in some of the pugs. Or maybe you didn't. There were some really cool disengages and engages that I did with Juno the more I got comfortable with her. Anyway. 5-5 is boring from the team fight POV, and in theory just gives DPS more time to shine. The problem is once the number of advantage goes in, there's not much one DPS can do to win afterwards. What? Once the number advantage goes in. Sure, Tracer can land a pulse, but most of the time it's just better to retreat and wait for the next team fight. That's one of the reasons it's better for me. I disagree. I actually disagree. I think because the fights are more spread out, it's a lot easier to clutch disadvantages. I wish there was a statistic on this, but I swear 4v5s are not necessarily worse than 5v6s in Overwatch 2 because of how the spacing of those 4v5s is in comparison to Overwatch 2. I don't have a hard number to back that up, so I can't really claim it as fact, but that's my conjecture. Yeah, exactly, Gavin. The whole point of the glide is that, like, you can use the double jump and the glide to catch, like, if the ledges, if there's like verticality that's just low enough for you to reach, there's so much that you can do. There's so much that you can do, I think. Not at the disadvantage of your tank dying first. See, I disagree with that too. I know that tank is more powerful in Overwatch 2. There's a larger health, but like, there's so much more space for supports and DPS to clutch fights in Overwatch 2. I disagree. I think it's a lot more it's certainly a more nuanced discussion. It's certainly more nuanced discussion than people think. People go, oh, 4v5, mathematically simpler. Or, oh, tank is a bigger health pool, right? I think the space is so important. But yeah. Push and Flashpoint are the two best modes of the game. Escort and Hybrid are the worst. It's a hot take. It's a hot take. I think Escort and Hybrid are overrated. Push and Flashpoint are overhated, but it's still a hot take. Ryan is cancer and should be removed. He's the most unfun thing in the game to play against. All his abilities are bugged. Shatter goes through shields more often than it's blocked by them. That's just making stuff up. Hammer hits behind him randomly. Again, making stuff up. Fire Strike hitbox is twice its visual indicator, making stuff up. By the way, Fire Strike was not buffed in the Season 9 changes. Pin pulls you from a mile away, even times to object. Again, making stuff up. It's that we've already gone through the hitbox thing, right? He has way too much damage for how tank he is, though that's all tanks now. Anything below mid-masters, people just don't know how to turn, so he's free to charge the whole team and just run at you holding left click. That is objectively false. In fact, that's all lower rank players know how to do is turn. And just running you holding left click to make guaranteed kills off low mobility and his hammer swing sucking you toward him makes no sense. What? I can forgive all of this if Ryan comps were just so boring now. What? Ryan Comp's boring. Ryan is the most interesting brawl tank, and it's not even close. Way more interesting than Zarya, Orisa, Ramatra, and Malga. Nah, you guys are coping. You guys are coping. I understand if you want to like complain about like staring at shield and stuff like that, but nah, this is insane, man. This is insane. When has Ryan May Reaper been meta? Been relevant? When? 2019 or 20? When? No way, man. Because it's a hot take. I got to give unpopular opinions take. I got to give it respect, you know? This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Wow. Genji should be able to deflect beams. Ana should have a parkour pass that allows her to jump against walls, get extra elevation, mount high ground. She's an urban sniper. She shouldn't let her. Hey, unpopular takes, man. Unpopular takes. I actually think the Ana idea is kind of fun. If you were to give her mobility, something that's like not just BAP jump would be kind of funny, but yeah. Yeah, but I definitely am of the opinion that Ana should not get mobility, frankly. At least not right now. I don't think she needs it. I think she has enough defensive capabilities. She has enough range. She doesn't. Not every character in Overwatch needs mobility. Look at a character like Sigma, doesn't need mobility. Ana doesn't need mobility. I don't think Zenyatta needs much mobility, but you could argue that maybe a little bit. But like Ana, Sigma characters, even like Ashe doesn't really need much mobility, I think. My hot take is that I think lower skill characters deserve a spot in the meta just as much as any high skill super expression Tracerinos. Ooh, okay. I'm listening. Wish I wasn't, but I am. I think that in order to do that in a healthy way, they need polarizing kits that are easy to exploit the weaknesses of. I think a good example is Reinhardt. People are fine playing against Reinhardt because even though he's low skill, I'd say low skill floor, but high skill ceiling. So it's like you have to be careful with using that term. You can play around with centralizing gimmicks. Compare this to someone like Moira Roadhog, where they're low skill, but also parts of the kit entirely center around ignoring. But see, that's the thing is like the reason why people don't mind Reinhardt is because yes, he has I would say a similar. Okay, hot take. Reinhardt's skill floor is lower than Roadhog. You guys aren't ready for that, but it's true. Reinhardt's skill floor is lower than Roadhog. It is easier to pick up Reinhardt than it is Roadhog. The problem is that the effort scale is the value out of picking up the floor on Roadhog is more consistent. And Reinhardt has a healthier, more dynamic, and more interesting skill ceiling. That's why people don't mind Reinhardt. They're like, oh, you're picking an easy character that scales with skill. And has, like this person is saying, has exploitable weaknesses. So actually, yeah, this is a good point. It could feel hard to exploit Moira's and Roadhog's weaknesses because, you ready for this one, Chad? Their weaknesses is a lack of value, not you denying their value. Do you understand? Listen carefully. The weaknesses of Moira and Roadhog is not you exploiting their weaknesses, but them exploiting their own weaknesses, them making them mistakes. You understand what I'm saying? Like when a Roadhog is a bad pick, you may not even know that he's a bad pick. He's just not doing a lot. A Moira might not die, but she's throwing because she's not getting value. But that doesn't reward me with a sense of I'm outplaying the Roadhog, or the Moira, excuse me, she just doesn't do anything. The ability to outplay should be a conscious choice from your competition, not because you just failed to hit a shot. Because that just feels kind of lame. It'd be like the equivalent of like you eliminated somebody in a chess tournament versus somebody got sick and just didn't show up, you know? Like, you'll never kill a Moira, but you might deny her value, but denying Moira value might not be a very fun game mechanic. Exactly, Gavin. Comparing this to something like Moira, they're low skill, but also parts of the kit entirely center around ignoring what's meant to be their weaknesses. I think not every hero has to be good in every map against every team at the same time. There should be nerds that are bad for it because they don't like them. I mean, I kind of agree. I've always been I think that, like... I think that you could close the gap between like these skill ceilings of so many different characters. I don't think you need to make every character like this super complicated thing. But I don't like this whole like, I basically say, let's let Roadhog rot in the gutter, but let's not pretend that that's optimal, you know? Or Moira either, you know? Every Mercy player by the pure definition of the hero is extremely boosted. Their entire kit is to pocket and be boosted by a good DPS. Hot take and objectively wrong. We'll talk about it. Mercy OT, every time you encounter Mercy OT in the high elo, even if they are more so, you know that you're about to have a really bad time with an extremely boosted player who can't flex at anything and not throw. That is true, but that is not the definition of boosted. Boosted is somebody that does not perform and provide value equivalent to their rank. Saying that somebody can't flex to a different character is not the same thing as boosted. Mercy needs a complete removes damage from remote killing. She needs an ability that requires screaming timing from herself. Man, I don't know if I should upvote this. This is supposed to be an unpopular opinion, but it's wrong. It's wrong. Mercy has skill expression. Mercy has less skill expression than other characters and maybe gets more value than she should for fewer skills, and has a definite problem of having no transferable skills, or not no, but fewer transferable skills than most characters in the game. But saying that every Mercy is boosted because their job is to boost other DPS, then why isn't every person who plays Mercy dominating the higher ranks? Is it literally you just chose the right DPS and rolled your dice to high level? I mean, that's absurd. You guys have seen high level Mercy play versus low level Mercy play. You can have issues with Mercy's design. You can have issues with Mercy players putting themselves into such a narrow skill set that they can't flex when it's necessary. But you can't tell me that Mercy by definition is boosted. That means that you don't understand any form of mathematics at all. It's like when people were saying that all support mains are boosted. And we had that big discussion about how like that's probably not true. But yeah, this is just silly. It definitely in general is that counterpicking isn't as strong as people make it out to be. It just feels good because it feels like you directly have control of the situation as immediate, tangible, even if it's ultimately not the correct play. The alternative is that you can play the good characters to make team concept actually make sense, but because the average person only wants to play their favorites and doesn't want to use their brain, they're going to look at what is the most obvious and immediate play instead of having to put more than a minor amount of effort into it. And I don't think you need to be playing the most meta comp at most, if not all ranks. Just makes sense in the comp. One tricks are overall bad for the game and how many there are, and flexibility in team play should be more encouraged. But unfortunately, this game has a lot of people who don't ever want to be told what to do or work as a team. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a relatively hot take. I mean, this is the thing that I didn't get famous, but was well known for earlier on, was saying that tank counterpicking exists, but it's overrated, and it is. Like it's not even a hot take if you think about it for 5 seconds. It's overrated. Doesn't mean that's useless. Doesn't mean that's too powerful. Of course, it's too powerful. It's too easy. But everyone loves to talk about tank counterpicking. Everyone loves to talk about tank counterpicking, and I've coached thousands of tank players. Maybe not thousands of tank players. Let's say 500, 600, 700. About 1,000 tank players within the bronze to masters rank. And a lot of them do complain about like the counterpicking and things like that, and we'll even look at the codes. And a lot of times they're just jackasses in terms of how they're playing or how they're approaching the engagement. It's still too powerful, I agree. But I think the problem is actually more with tank, the problem is less counterpicking and more that when a lower skill floor tank is really strong. Like Malgameta Season 8, Roadhog a lot of time, Orisa. Those are more of a problem with tank than the tank counterpicking. Like right now, if somebody's counterpicking you as like Malga versus Ryan right now, I don't think Malga is strong enough to give you any serious difficulties right now. If somebody's picking Orisa versus your Winston right now, you're not going to have really many issues. And I actually have a video in the works right now where we're going to talk about like the order of priorities for you to swap. The map is actually the most important thing when you consider swapping. It's not the enemy comp. It's not the enemy comp. The map is way more important than enemy composition. Let's keep going here. Let's go to best here. King's Row is popular because it's one of the most linear maps in the game, which forces the game to go through the tank line and makes it very difficult to path on the enemy backline. Ooh. Good for tanks who just want to frontline train, good for supports who just want to sit there back and not worry about flankers as much. This is the same reason a lot of people hate maps like New Queen Street. That's a good take. It's an unpopular opinion. Is it an unpopular opinion? I mean, the way that they put their argument, it makes it they're like, oh yeah, wait, I agree with you. That's good. That's good. King's Row is an overrated map. Overrated map for sure. Third point is tough. I don't see the Lucio thing. Maybe I'm just blind. Third point is tough. Second point is very as like one of the nastier chokes still in Overwatch now. First point is interesting. I will say first point is fairly good. I like first point, has a lot of dynamics with it. But yeah, I think King's Row is overrated. I think King's Row has been overrated for quite a long time. It's simple, right? You know, it's funny. It's a lot of people do not like complicated things. And I think the take about New Queen Street is true. New Queen Street is not... That's why people don't like Flashpoint. Because you have to be thinking about how to position. But yeah, that's also one of the big upsides for Flashpoint, is for people that like thinking. I'm not like gatekeeping here, but like, you know, I think that like most people who I've worked with who dislike Flashpoint and push are people that don't like, they just want to know where to go and where to hold and then just do the game thing. You know, I will say if part of the hate for Flashpoint is it is hero specific. Okay, so here's this sexy thing. Okay, ready? People don't like Flashpoint because it discourages Annas and Zen and Widows and Ashes, and I understand. We talked about, I think that they've talked about giving some sort of speed boost from spawn, which is true. But it's funny that there's a bug on my microphone. No. It's funny that people don't want to talk about how Escort and Hybrid is often short sightline discriminatory. There's discrimination versus short sightline characters, right? So a lot of Hybrid maps and Escort maps are really, really harsh versus characters that don't have good range. So it's a double-edged sword, and people don't talk about that. It's like, oh, Flashpoint. But a lot of the other maps are rough too. Imagine, think about how a lot of dive heroes feel on Havana, or characters with shorter range feel on Dorado, I think Escort may not be the worst game mode necessarily. I don't like saying the worst game mode, period. But there is a lot of tough maps. Nice, Gavin. We're looking forward to it. So I think, and here's the other thing. You guys, chat. So, are you guys ready for some facts? Are you guys ready for some facts? What is the most fundamentally imbalanced game mode in Overwatch? And it's not even close. Go ahead. I have statistics on this. What is it? So, let me kind of clarify what I mean by imbalance, which might change some of your answers. By imbalance, the metric by which we're going to be going with is simple. It's essentially first fight. Whoever it manages to win first fight wins the vast majority of not just the round, but the entire game mode. And it is control. Yes, it's control. I kind of gave away my... it's by far control. It's not even close. Now, and there's other imbalances to discuss as well. We talked about Hybrid and Escort because of the map discrepancies can be very difficult for different hero players. Like, let's say you're a Junkrat player, you load into Havana, you're kind of sad. Widow player loads into, a different Flashpoint, might be sad. But in terms of first fight advantage, King of the Hill just is so important. And it's not even close. Much more than push. In fact, push has some of the most forgiving catch-up mechanics in the entire game. This is why when push came out, I went to bat for push, defending push, even though there were aspects of push that I didn't love. Because a lot of people were complaining about first fight and how it was remember the whole how foot push is fundamentally imbalanced, that whole video essay that blew up that I reacted to like 2 years ago. And I tore into it because it was statistically wrong. About first fight. It was wrong. It was totally wrong. And as I said, push actually has extremely forgiving catch-up mechanics because of the respawns and because of overtime. Overtime and push is extremely forgiving, almost at the point of like Escort and Hybrid, because of the changing respawn and how oftentimes you can be 110-0, get to overtime, and you really only need to win like 3 fights in a row. So, you can have different problems with push, but King of the Hill is way more snowbally. Way more snowbally. King of the Hill is the only game mode where it's legitimately possible to lose an entire round and not build a single ultimate. And King of the Hill has just as many positional and hero favorites as Flashpoint, if not more. Lijiang Tower is a great example. There are a lot of characters that are really bad on Lijiang. There are a lot of heroes that are really bad in Busan. There's a lot of heroes that are really bad on Nepal. Just as much as Flashpoint. So, King of the Hill has way more, just as many hero design issues, or like hero viability issues as a lot of the Escort and Hybrid maps. And Flashpoint, and has even more objective issues than a lot of the Flashpoint stuff is. I'm not saying that I dislike King of the Hill. It's high risk, high reward. I think the variety is fun, and I think the maps are cool too. I'm just saying that that's just not something that people are ready to hear. But why does Koth feel so good? I don't know. I personally don't enjoy Koth all that much personally. I can't answer that question. I can't. Maybe it's the fast-paced, immediate engagement nature. How one of our highest lever rates. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's part nostalgia. Part nostalgia. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, the HP buff and hitbox increases were good at making heroes slightly less squishy and not get blown up in an instant. However, this is slowly getting reviewed and damage is creeping back to where it used to be proportional HP in the chains. Maybe I'd have to think back to all the changes. I honestly can't remember all the changes. Maybe. I don't like when people talk about power creep and don't give me any specific examples. Like even the recent midseason patch snuffed it out again. I agree that I hate the recent midseason patch, but how did it adjust the Season 9 hitbox changes? They nerfed Pharah's HP. They nerfed Cassidy. Sigma got his one-shot combo back. Did Sigma get his one-shot combo back? Really, is a rock accretion enough? Accretion plus primary fire enough to kill a 250 HP character? Plus melee? Yeah, see, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. I'm not saying that wasn't like, you know, I don't know. That doesn't count to me. Bro, I was one of the people that pushed for accretion to get buffed because accretion did not benefit from the hitbox changes because you did not increase the size of the projectile. It counts, but it's fine. Oh, it doesn't count. Guys, you can't have a 3-step one-shot, man. Especially with a character like Sigma who has to be in melee range. Like, come on, guys. It is a one-shot combo. Oh, you guys are crazy, man. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. Bro, that you guys are crazy. A melee combo that involves a primary fire, an accretion, and a melee from a poke tank? Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. And that's one change. Like, I agree the tank patch was terrible, but it doesn't have anything to do with that HP buff and hitbox increases. Hog's one-shot isn't a one-shot? I mean, that's misleading because the whole point of Hog being a one-shot is he pulls you into melee range. He pulls you into melee range. Do you not see the difference? Come on, guys. You guys are crazy, man. Rock keeps you in melee range? Bro, come on, man. This guy's walking into Sigma like, oh, I got one shot. Oh. Come on, man. Come on, bro. This Sigma's pulling me into melee range, man. Bro, come on. You guys are crazy, dude. Oh my gosh. I can't do this anymore. Blood pressure check. It's great. Very healthy. Again, my point being here is regardless of where you stand on that issue, I agree with this, but I wish people were more specific about this stuff, you know? I don't like how people just like kind of pull stuff out of the air. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, they've reverted all the changes and power creeps. And like, have they? I mean, honest question, have they? I mean, maybe I'm misremembering some stuff. Maybe they have. Like, I don't remember the season 10 stuff, frankly. Maybe it's season 10. I don't know. I don't like that. It's just everyone just upvotes this brainlessly, you know. Anubis was a fun map as long as you're on defense. I mean, all of 2CP was fun as long as you're on defense. I even liked Volskaya, man. Like, I mean, yeah, there's something devious about. Everyone has those moments. I played Junkrat Anubis. Felt great playing Junkrat and Anubis. It felt amazing playing Genji on Anubis defense. It was freaking awesome playing Zenyatta with a Torbjorn and throwing armor, and a Sim with a shield generator, and a Brigitte giving me armor, perma armor from Rally, but it wasn't one for the enemy team. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, objectively true. Yeah. Dude, how much HP did I have on Zenyatta? It was 75 armor. I think it was 75 from shield generator. It was 350, and I think was it 100? It was like 450 Zenyatta. And I want to remind you guys that 225 shields was on top. So you didn't even lose the armor. That was the crazy part. It just, unless you really got like really, really sweaty. And then even then, if you lost all your armor, oh no, or Torb gives you another armor pack. You get your shield generator back up to full. So your worst case scenario back at 400 or 350 HP. Yeah. Tank Doom isn't as hard as people make him out to be. Disagree. I'm not sure if this is a popular opinion or not. I disagree, but I'm not downvoting it because of that. I wish everyone was forced to play 10 hours of Doomfist. I think that Doomfist can be very frustrating to play versus. I think the empowered punch thing is kind of silly. But I challenge you. If you think Doomfist is easy, go play him for 10 hours. Let me know what you think. Because I did that. I did that several months ago, and I was like, ooh, he is tricky. He's tricky.